Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, I'm doing well.
Alhamdulillah. Sister, could you just introduce yourself, please, and tell us about what you do, inshallah?
So my name is Aysha Bint Mahmud, and I am basically a computer programmer. I am into developing websites and slowly moving into developing mobile applications and a lot more, wanting to bring more women into tech. That is what I have as my main focus. Then I am also a writer and a blogger. I also do public speaking, talking about Islam, technology, motivation, and a lot more. Then I work as a radio presenter, and the list goes on. So I just completed my Bachelor of Science degree in computer science. And Alhamdulillah, we're waiting for more and more opportunities, inshallah.
Allahumma barik. Mashallah. I think you should be giving this interview. Mashallah. Wow. That's quite a long list of things. Allahumma barik. Okay, right. Well, we'll get into some of those things a little bit later. First, inshallah, we'll talk about your wearing of the niqab and, you know, how you got into wearing the niqab. So how long have you been wearing the niqab for?
Let's say roughly 6 years.
Okay, mashallah. So what prompted you to wear it? What made you want to wear it?
Actually, after my high school in the year 2013, I enrolled in a program called IJMB. It's more like a diploma course or diploma program. So without going into too much details on the diploma course, niqab was very rampant there. You see a lot of sisters with niqab, and the school allowed it. Then I was, let's say, 15 or 16 years old. And I believe, even though I was very conscious of the hijab then, since I became like a local Islamic teacher at the age of 14, so everything was like, okay, I wanted to be pious as best as I can, and I was really trying. But then in high school, we were not allowed to actually wear the niqab.
Right.
But alhamdulillah for the school uniform then, because they allowed us to wear longer hijabs, and it was okay for me then. So after enrolling in that diploma program and seeing all the beautiful sisters with niqab all around, and the fact that the institute was not against it was a bonus. So I felt I wanted to observe the niqab, and since then, alhamdulillah, the journey continues.
Alhamdulillah. So how old was you then? Around 15, 16?
Yes, 15, 16.
Alhamdulillah. Mashallah. So did you find it easy wearing it then, since you said there was a lot of people that was wearing the niqab as well?
Actually, my answer to this would be yes and no at the same time, because I came from a part of the world where okay, you can count a lot of sisters on the street wearing niqab, and even the kids know what a niqab is. So yes, there were challenges, but then the challenge was on another level. So being able to walk on the street without facing a lot of criticism, without facing that more challenge, because everyone was okay with niqab and a lot of people knew about it. So it was easy for me. And I said no because then my mom had an issue with it, because we had a lot of riots going on. There were suicide bombers and everything. So for security reasons, she was making it a bit difficult for me. So I only wear the niqab when I'm out alone, but if I'm following her anywhere, I have to take it off. So that was the difficulty I found in my journey.
So how is it now? Are you allowed to wear it all the time now?
Yes, I'm allowed to wear it all the time. And I was surprised when I saw her the last time. She bought a niqab for me. I was like, oh, okay, so my prayers have been answered, and Allah has made it completely easy for me, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. So have you, with your, regarding obviously your mum's concerns, did you ever face any kind of abuse from anybody for wearing it?
Yes, it's more like a verbal abuse from strange men and at times male and female lecturers in the university. So some of the lecturers don't really allow niqab in their classes. So let's say maybe, for instance, you forget to lift your niqab when they come in. They would ask you to stand up and they will say a word you wouldn't like and just make you feel disgraced in front of the class. So things like that and more. Or just like that, you walk on the street and you hear like painful comments from strange men and rarely some number of women like that. So the one that pains me most is how some non-Niqabi Muslim parents scare their children with women in niqab. So you'd be like walking on the street and this little kid sees you and they start running and crying. So it's more like it feels somehow, and you begin to feel maybe you're some sort of a creature. And non-Muslims, actually, when you're walking, they keep looking at you and you feel like you're very different, or maybe you're an alien that was forgotten on earth. But then again, alhamdulillah, the fact that it had no negative impact on my heart, and it makes me feel I don't want to give up the niqab. I want to wear it more.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So what is it that really made you want to wear the niqab?
You see, my niqab has been a part of my success story, and most importantly, the niqab has brought me a lot closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I see my niqab as a mercy from Allah. And alhamdulillah, I am among those Allah has chosen among many others to wear niqab. So hence I see my niqab as something that is a huge blessing for me. And my niqab, I wear it solely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So you mentioned you do various jobs. Like what about traveling then? So like to and from work, or have you traveled out of the country with wearing the
I'm not really a person that likes traveling, so I've never traveled out of the country, but from one state to another, yes, it's okay because we live in a part of the world where everyone minds his or her own business, and if you're traveling, all they really need to do is some security checks, and at times they don't really do that. As long as you're there to like pay your transport fee and then you can go wherever you want. Like I don't really face challenges in that aspect. That is really fine for me.
Alhamdulillah. So alhamdulillah, but would you say that the niqab is a barrier then? And if so, in what sense?
The niqab, for me, even though most people do see the niqab as a barrier, for me it's not a barrier because personally the frequent question I do get asked is how do I get to places and how do I make it to big events and all these things I am really into. And I do tell them, because the truth is, whenever I receive like any proposal, I make it clear to them that I can't do this without my niqab. So if they say they are okay with it, we work together. But if they don't agree, it's easy and we let things slide, because I believe since I'm doing it for the sake of Allah, better opportunities would be coming up. So for me, it's really not a big deal and it's not a barrier, because I believe whatever Allah has destined for you, inshallah, it will always come to you. So it's really not a big deal for me.
Allahu Akbar, mashallah, that's such a beautiful mindset that you've got, sister. Really, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So do you feel then that sisters that wear hijab get treated differently from sisters who wear the niqab?
To some extent, I would say yes, because the treatment is clearly different and you see it physically, because I really don't know how to explain this, but then at times people feel just because you're covered or just because you wear the niqab, you're dull, you're antisocial, and there's nothing you can actually bring to the table. So there's this story in my life that I always love telling people. My first days at university, I met some group of men because I was on a queue to submit my documents, and I was the only one putting on a niqab then. So I heard them saying, "What, like, who is this? Like, what does she mean? What is she doing here?" And I was like, "Okay." So I walk up to them and I told them, like, just because we're covered doesn't mean we're covering our brain, and just because I'm dressed this way doesn't mean I don't know what I'm doing, or maybe I'm not social, or maybe I'm not intelligent. So that was one of the things that pained me, and I was very motivated from my first years in university till the end. And that kept playing in my head and made me work even harder. And alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. Mashallah, very inspirational. Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
I'm sure you've got a lot more stories that you can tell us as well. Don't feel shy.
I think that's it, but that was the only one that motivated me, and it was more like the foundation of everything I'm into now. So just to like, especially in the technology field, a lot of women here in northern part of Nigeria, we feel technology is for men, and we're kind of drawn back. So for me to be in the technology field, a lot of women felt it was an inspiration for them, and a lot of them start coming out and then joining the technology field. And I believe that is a success story for me.
Alhamdulillah. So are you working in like any particular company, or do you have your own business? And that you know, like how is it that you get women involved into the technology?
So I don't really work for any company, but we have like communities of developers from Facebook, from Google, and a lot of other big technology companies. So they engage like people like us to reach out to those that are not up to our own level. So for instance, we have the Women Technology Makers community group where I was part of the leaders. So with that community, and we have a body like Google and Facebook funding whatever like events and programs we have. But then when we come to the aspect of working with radio stations, yeah, I worked with quite a number of radio stations here, like about 4 to 5 of them. And so I had to work under someone, but it was really difficult. So now I'm on my own, and I'm more of doing a freelancing job. I teach women on my own, more like courses and classes to help them move into technology and do a lot of things with technology.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So do you, how does the radio presenting go? And I'm assuming would be a lot of men when you're working during radio presenting. How does that work?
For the radio stations, it's true, a lot of men are there because we have the ratio of women in the media field is actually very low here. So for me, it was more like I went in as a casual staff, because when you go in as a permanent staff, you get overburdened with a lot of work. You have to work with the men hand in hand and a lot of stuff. So going in as a casual staff is more like I have days for my programs, and my programs are usually 1 hour or 30 minutes. So whenever it's time, I go in, and at the end of my program, I come out and then go home. So I try as much as I can to really avoid that much of interaction with the men. But my stay in the radio stations, I think I spent 3 years or 4 years working with the media. And alhamdulillah, I was able to also touch a lot of lives, because then I was presenting like Islamic programs from the young Muslim, women in Ramadan, Sisters Cycle, and a lot of programs on radio. So it was okay for me because I tried as much as I can to make it easy and not something that would really bother me.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Amazing. So when you do public speaking, is that also like, is that mostly geared towards Islamic talks as well, or is it more on the technology side, or combination of both?
Yeah, it's a combination of both, because maybe when there's an Islamic event, definitely my public speaking has to be on Islamic events. And when we're talking technology, yeah, when maybe we're having a technology event, I can mix technology in Islam or anything that has to do with technology, or how we can use technology to assist women and Islam.
Okay.
So I have the combination of both.
MashaAllah. So could you just like share with us a little something? You know, you mentioned that technology and how it can help women in Islam. Like, can you give us some, you know, pointers of what exactly does that involve?
What that involves actually is going back to our own part of the world again, because here in northern part of Nigeria, whenever a woman is married, for example, like you're not allowed to go out and then join these communities, even though because the communities are full of men, and at times when parents and husbands see what goes on in the developers community and they see the ratio of men, they actually limit their children and they limit their wives from going out there. So what I actually do is our women are more creative when it comes to cooking and when it comes to writing story. So I sit with group of women and see what they can in their own ability. So some of them would actually tell you they like cooking, some would tell you they like stories, some would tell you they like design. So what we do is if you're a person that likes cooking, we teach you how to blog and earn money from your blog, because I have a sister right now that is currently blogging about food. So she even has a free blog, a free hosted blog, where she sent her recipes, offer courses. So she's really making money from it and she's very happy. And she said she never thought she could do that. And if maybe you're more of a design person, we teach you graphic design and how to do logos and so on, so that you can just work from the comfort of your home without actually going out and mixing with men and so on. And maybe if there is an Islamic event coming up, maybe we need flyers, website, so we have women trained on that aspect. They can really help in assisting that project.
Well, Mubarak, mashallah. You sound really, really busy. That's a lot of things that you're involved in, mashallah. And everything sounds, mashallah, so productive. I shouldn't be surprised, to be honest, because I know, mashallah, tabarakallah, like any Nigerian sister that I've met, they're always, mashallah, like, I just have to look at them and just say, subhanallah. I don't know where you guys get all the energy. Always busy ladies. It doesn't matter if you're married, if you've got how many children, always doing something, always studying, working, everything. SubhanAllah, Allahumma barik. Really, SubhanAllah, that's so inspiring. SubhanAllah, wow. So what would you say your main work is then? Because you're doing quite a lot of different things, but what do you really spend most of your time doing?
I spend most of my time programming.
Right. Okay. Mashallah.
Yeah, maybe more of web development and artificial intelligence.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. These are things I have absolutely no idea about. But I might become one of your clients. Yeah.
Yeah, you're always welcome.
MashaAllah. So, sister, coming back to wearing the niqab, have you met other sisters who would like to wear it that are not allowed to wear it, for example?
Yes, I've met quite a number of sisters who want to observe the niqab, but then they are not allowed either by their parents or by their spouse. And some of them do discourage, maybe if I wear the niqab, my friends know me to be this way, and if I change, I don't know what they will say about me. So I've met a lot of them, but then the only type of people I've not met is those who are being forced to wear the niqab. You see, we live in a society where when a masquerade covers his face, no one complains. And when a motorcycle rider covers his face with a helmet, nobody complains. When a wrestler covers his face, no one complains. And when police or soldiers cover their face, we don't complain. And also when a fight, like all these wrestling people and karate fighters cover their face, we don't complain. When a Christian bride covers her face on her wedding day, we don't complain. But then the real problem begins when a Muslim woman decides to cover her face. The whole world at large begins to complain. So I've met a lot who want to wear the niqab, but then they don't have the opportunity to. But I've never met anyone who has been forced to put on the niqab. But I've met a lot who have been forced to take it off.
Okay. So what would you say that the niqab means to you, sister?
To me, the niqab is more than just a controversial piece of cloth, because wearing it for the sake of Allah gives me complete gratitude. It gives me total pleasure, and it sort of keeps me in a control, because you only see what I let you see. And to me, it honors, it shields, it preserves, and it protects me. So I feel like the most happiest woman in the world, and the privilege of living within my intellect, not my physical form, where my body, my hair, my face are used to measure my worth. Alhamdulillah, the niqab is a protection and a mercy for me.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah, eloquently said. Tabarakallah. So what advice would you give to sisters who would like to wear it and they're thinking about it at the moment?
Well, the truth is, we can't sugarcoat the fact that it is not easy, because the struggle is real and you have to be strong enough. But then the advice is, we need to know what our intention is. So when you know your intention of wearing the niqab, you put it at the top of your priority more than any challenge you're going to face, and you make yourself firm on that establishment of your intention, then inshallah it will be easy for you. But then the first thing is, we need to know why we are wearing it, and we need to establish our intention.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah, excellent advice. Mashallah, tabarakallah. Jazakallah khair, sister, for giving us your time. I really, really appreciate it, and I've enjoyed talking to you thoroughly, and I wish I could talk to you for much longer. Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Really, I appreciate
it. So Jazakillah khair for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
No problem, sister. Yes, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. It's been really beneficial listening to you and your experiences, mashallah. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
May Allah make it easy for us.
Ameen.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.